Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something real right now. Men recognize royalty when they see it. You ain't got to beg for respect, baby. You command it by how you carry yourself. The way you walk, the way you talk, the way you hold your head high, even when your heart is breaking. That's queen energy. If men recognize and respond to the energy you project, carry yourself with royalty. It's not about arrogance, it's about assurance. When you walk into a room with confidence, with grace, with a calm sense of knowing who you are and what you bring to the table, that speaks louder than any words you could ever say. A man doesn't need to be told that you're a queen. He should be able to feel it by the way you move, the way you speak, the way you handle situations without crumbling under pressure. You see, real presence can't be faked. It's built through self-respect, discipline, and emotional control. You could be the most beautiful woman in the room, but if your spirit is desperate, if your vibe screams, "Please pick me," a real man will sense that energy and back away. It's in how you sit at the table, how you hold your eye contact, how you listen without needing to interrupt. It's how you respond to disrespect, not by arguing or proving yourself, but by removing yourself. A queen knows her energy is sacred, and she doesn't waste it trying to convince anyone of her value. She knows not everyone deserves access to her, and she doesn't hand her heart over just because someone is available. When a woman carries herself like she knows who she is, she naturally filters out the weak, the unsure, the inconsistent. Her energy becomes a test that only the worthy can pass. And men are watching that. They might not say it, but they're always observing. They're watching how easily you get shaken, how quick you are to compromise, how desperate you are for attention. They see the difference between a woman who demands respect through her presence and one who begs for love through her actions. Carrying yourself with royalty means you don't respond to every call, every text, every little display of interest. You move with purpose. You don't chase, you attract. You don't ask for space, you command it. You set boundaries not to punish others, but to protect your peace. You choose your words carefully. You don't entertain drama. You don't lower your standards to fit into someone else's idea of enough. You walk in purpose. You speak with intention. You value your time, your body, and your mind. You take care of yourself, not just physically, but mentally and spiritually. You nourish your soul with things that uplift you and distance yourself from what drains you. Your life is not an audition, it's a throne. And when a man sees a woman sitting comfortably on her own throne, he approaches with humility, with reverence, with purpose. He understands this isn't someone you play with. This is someone you build with. This is someone who adds value, not chaos. This is someone whose energy you don't just want, you need. But it all starts with how you see yourself first, how you treat yourself, how you speak about yourself, even when no one's listening. When your energy says, "I'm the prize." The right man treats you like one without you having to remind him. Stop auditioning for love. You were born worthy of it. You don't need to earn someone's affection by overgiving, over-pleasing, or shrinking yourself just to be chosen. Real love doesn't come through performance. It comes through presence. The moment you start performing for love, you start losing pieces of yourself, compromising your values, and tolerating things that your soul knows you're not meant to tolerate. You begin to accept crumbs, hoping they'll turn into a feast. You stay silent when your heart is screaming. You act like you're okay with the bare minimum because deep down you're afraid that asking for more will push them away. But if love can't handle your truth, your standards, your authenticity, then it was never love to begin with. Auditioning for love looks like chasing people who don't call, excusing behavior that disrespects your boundaries, waiting for someone to realize your worth while you ignore your own. It looks like giving the best parts of yourself to someone who hasn't even earned your trust. It sounds like you saying yes when everything in you wants to say no. You're not a backup plan. You're not someone's convenience. You are not meant to be sitting there praying that someone finally sees you, finally chooses you, finally gives you the love you've been pouring into others. You were born worthy of love, not because of what you can do for someone, not because of how you look, how much you give, how quiet you are, how agreeable you pretend to be. Worthiness isn't about proving yourself. It's about knowing yourself. When you truly believe you deserve love, real love, deep love, love that respects and protects, you stop settling for confusion, half-hearted effort, and mixed signals. You stop auditioning because you know the role of a queen isn't something that gets handed out to the loudest or the most desperate. It's something you step into with grace and confidence. There's power in knowing your value. It keeps you from begging, from pleading, from staying in places that drain you. It frees you from the need to convince anyone that you are enough. You already are. You don't chase love, you embody it. You don't scream your worth, you show it in how you treat yourself, in how you let others treat you. That shift in energy is everything. Because when you stop auditioning, when you stop bending, shrinking, molding yourself into who you think they want, you give space for someone to see the real you. And the real you is more than enough. She's not desperate. She's not performing. She's not waiting to be chosen. She's choosing herself first every single time. That's where your power lies, not in how hard you try to be loved, but in how boldly you love yourself without apology, without compromise, without delay. You weren't created to beg for a seat at the table. You were meant to build your own and watch who's worthy enough to sit with you. Your standards teach others how to treat you, raise them. People take their cues from you. If you tolerate inconsistency, they'll keep being inconsistent. If you accept excuses, they'll keep giving you excuses. If you allow disrespect, even in small forms, it opens the door for bigger disrespect to walk right in. The truth is, your energy, your expectations, and your boundaries are teaching people exactly what is and isn't acceptable in your presence. And whether you realize it or not, you are always setting the tone for how others engage with you. The way you let someone speak to you becomes the way they will always speak to you. The way you let someone prioritize you or not becomes the rhythm of that relationship. When your standards are low, people don't rise to meet them. They settle comfortably beneath them. They give you the minimum because you've never shown them that the maximum is required. It's not about being demanding or difficult. It's about being clear. Clear about what you deserve, what you need, and what you will never again accept. High standards don't scare off the right people. They scare off the ones who were never planning to give you much in the first place. They scare off the ones looking for easy access, cheap love, and emotional discounts. But the ones who truly see you, who value you, who want to build with you, they'll respect your standards, not run from them. They'll understand that your boundaries aren't walls to shut people out. They're gates to protect the peace you've worked hard to create. You've got to know that you are not responsible for how someone feels about your standards. If someone calls you too much, too intense, too picky, too independent, that's their issue, not yours. People who benefit from your lack of boundaries will always be uncomfortable when you finally create them. But discomfort is temporary, and your self-worth is not negotiable. You teach people how to treat you by what you allow, by what you say yes to, and by how quickly you walk away when your values are not respected. It's not just about relationships either. It's how you carry yourself in every area of your life. Your friendships, your family dynamics, your work environment. It all reflects the level at which you value yourself. When you raise your standards, you may lose people. You may find yourself alone for a season. But that silence, that space, it's sacred. It's the place where your peace grows, where your confidence rises, where your clarity strengthens. You stop accepting inconsistent attention in place of committed effort. You stop saying it's okay when it's really not. You stop giving chance after chance when someone keeps showing you who they are with every action. Raising your standards doesn't make you hard to love. It makes you impossible to play with. And that's the difference between being tolerated and being truly valued. The world meets you where your energy tells it to. So raise your standards and watch how everything starts to shift around you. The wrong ones will walk away when you act like a queen. Let them. When you begin to value yourself, when you start holding your head high and walking in purpose, not everyone will celebrate that version of you. Some people are only attracted to you when you're unsure, when you're easy to manipulate, when you're bending over backward just to keep them close. The moment you stop chasing, stop begging, stop tolerating half effort, they start to feel uncomfortable. Not because you've done something wrong, but because your growth exposes their lack of intention. When you act like a queen, you start drawing a line between what you used to allow and what you will no longer accept. And not everyone's going to cross that line with you. You're going to watch people leave, not because you failed them, but because you finally stopped failing yourself. That's what happens when you evolve. When you set boundaries, when you ask for respect, when you demand clarity instead of settling for confusion, some people will ghost you, blame you, or try to guilt trip you into shrinking again. But growth comes with a cost, and sometimes that cost is losing those who were only attached to your brokenness. A queen doesn't beg someone to stay who is uncomfortable with her standards. She doesn't chase anyone who walks away just because she started expecting more. There's a power in letting go of what isn't aligned with your future. Holding on to people who don't see your value only delays your blessing. You've got to be okay with walking alone until the right energy finds you. The right ones will never be scared by your strength. They'll admire it. They'll be drawn to it. They'll want to add to your peace, not steal from it. But the wrong ones will always try to make you feel like you're asking for too much, when all you're doing is acting like you finally know your worth. Let them leave if they can't handle who you're becoming. Let them go if they were only around for the version of you that tolerated disrespect and confusion. Let them walk if your healing makes them uncomfortable. You don't owe anyone the watered down version of yourself just to keep the peace. You owe it to yourself to be whole, to be grounded, to be unapologetically clear about what you will and won't accept. You have to trust that anything that falls away when you start respecting yourself was never solid to begin with. People who are meant for you will not be threatened by your boundaries. They'll be thankful for them. They'll respect the way you protect your peace. They'll understand that queens don't chase, they choose. They don't compete, they attract. They don't settle, they elevate. So when the wrong ones walk away, don't hold the door. Don't beg, don't plead. Just remember that your growth is not up for negotiation and your crown is not up for discussion. A real man steps up for a woman who knows her value. When a woman carries herself with confidence, when she walks in purpose, when she knows who she is and what she deserves, she creates an energy that separates the boys from the men. A man who is ready, who is grounded, who understands what it means to love and lead, is never intimidated by a woman who knows her worth. He doesn't run from her standards. He doesn't play games with her emotions. He doesn't shrink when she shines. He recognizes her strength. He respects her boundaries. And he shows up with consistency, not confusion. A woman who knows her value doesn't need to beg, remind, or convince. She doesn't waste her time explaining why she deserves effort. Her life is already evidence of what she brings to the table. She's not chasing love, she's attracting alignment. And when a man sees that, when he sees that she respects herself, that she won't settle, that she's not afraid to walk alone if necessary, that's when the right one steps in with clarity, with respect, and with genuine intention. He doesn't wait for her to ask for consistency. He brings it from the start. He doesn't show up just enough to keep her around. He shows up because he sees her as part of his future. He doesn't view her standards as a challenge. He sees them as a blessing. He understands that a woman who has done the work to know herself, to heal, to grow, to protect her peace, is not someone you approach with half energy. You step to her correct or not at all. There's a difference between a man who wants to be around you and a man who's ready to build with you. A man who is serious about you will match your effort, your energy, and your values. He won't leave you guessing. He won't play on your insecurities. He won't disappear when things get real. He'll be present. He'll communicate. He'll support your growth, not compete with it. He'll understand that loving a strong woman doesn't mean controlling her. It means honoring the strength she brings into the relationship. When you know your worth, you stop entertaining people who bring confusion. You stop hoping someone will change. You stop giving multiple chances to someone who keeps showing you the same patterns. You start waiting on peace, not passion. You start choosing stability over potential. You start recognizing that the way a man shows up for you is a direct reflection of how he sees you. And a real man, the kind who's done his own work, the kind who's not afraid of a woman who demands more, the kind who wants a partner, not a project, will always rise to meet the queen in you. He won't ask you to lower your standards. He won't make you feel like you're too much. He'll see your crown and know exactly how to treat you. Because to a real man, a woman who knows her value isn't a threat. She's the answer he's been waiting for. You don't need validation. Wear your crown unapologetically. The moment you start seeking approval from others, you begin to hand over pieces of your power. When your confidence depends on someone else's opinion, you become a prisoner to their praise or criticism. The truth is, not everyone will understand your worth. Not everyone will clap when you win. Not everyone will like how brightly you shine. And that's okay. Your value doesn't decrease just because someone else can't see it. Your crown was placed on your head by everything you've survived, everything you've overcome, every time you picked yourself up when life tried to break you. You didn't come this far to ask for permission to be powerful. You didn't grow through all that pain, through all those lessons, just to shrink when someone feels uncomfortable around your strength. Stop second guessing yourself. Stop watering yourself down to be more digestible for people who were never meant to sit at your table. The right ones will see your light and respect it. The wrong ones will try to dim it. But the way you carry your crown should never depend on the reactions of others. You weren't made to blend in. You were made to stand out. And standing out takes courage. It takes discipline. It takes knowing that your self-worth is not up for debate. Some people won't like your confidence because they're used to control. Some people won't like your independence because they wanted you dependent on their attention. Some people won't like your voice because it reminds them of everything they've silenced in themselves. But your crown isn't for them to understand. It's for you to wear with pride every single day, whether they approve or not. When you truly stop needing validation, everything changes. You stop chasing people who don't see your worth. You stop explaining yourself to those who refuse to listen. You stop compromising your values just to be accepted. You learn to sit with yourself in silence and feel whole. You learn to look in the mirror and love what you see without needing anyone to confirm it. You begin to make decisions based on your peace, not their praise. You start trusting your gut, following your truth, and building a life that feels good from the inside out. You don't owe anyone an explanation for choosing yourself. You don't owe anyone an apology for walking away from chaos. You don't need to wait for someone to tell you you're enough. You already are. The crown is yours because you've earned it with every scar, every sacrifice, every sleepless night you pushed through when no one was watching. You don't wear it for validation. You wear it because you've claimed it. The most powerful version of you doesn't ask to be seen, doesn't beg to be heard, doesn't perform for applause. She simply shows up fully, fiercely, and freely, knowing her worth is rooted in who she is, not in who approves of her. When you act like a queen, everything around you begins to shift. Your energy sets the tone for how others treat you, and your self-worth becomes the filter for who stays and who goes. You no longer chase love, approval, or validation. You attract respect, loyalty, and alignment. The wrong ones will fall off, not because you changed, but because you finally stopped settling. You understand now that love isn't something to beg for. It's something you receive when you honor your value. A real man steps up, not because you demanded it, but because your presence requires it. You're not asking to be chosen. You're choosing yourself, and in doing so, you invite only the ones who are ready to love you right. Your crown is your birthright, your standards are your protection, and your strength is your legacy. Keep your head high. Royalty doesn't apologize for being powerful, graceful, and unshakably true to herself.